Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Steve, there is a ton of stuff to get into today on the transfer front. First, the Florian Wirtz deal has been agreed. And then some movement recently over Andy Robertson, as well as the latest on the Kerkez deal. But first, as always, how are you doing this morning, Steve? It's good to be back, by the way.
It's Father's Day. So
That's
happy
right.
Father's Day to you and everybody else.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, it's Father's Day. So I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to be back. I think there is a ton to cover, which hasn't really been the case for a little while, aside from just the Wirtz deal that we were covering the last few streams, which was like a month ago at this point.
It does feel like that.
So yeah, excited to break it all down.
Yeah, man, it's been a while, and that's given the news cycle time to refresh, recoup, and we do have a lot to discuss. So let's kind of just jump right into it. Tony, what's going on, man? Let's talk about Florian Wirtz, man. This is an exciting signing for probably 5 different reasons, but I think the first one is the price tag. Everyone's looking at the price tag. And if you look at it, let's approach it 2 different ways, right? Let's talk subjectively first. So just off the bat, not looking at anyone else or how rival fans see it. What are your initial thoughts on the price? Okay, and just to give you some context, $100 million up to 116 million pounds. I'm seeing the fee as high as 150 million euros. So I actually cannot give you an exact number, but given that it's that much in that range, what do you think?
What I heard was, and I think this puts it into perspective if it's true, is that it's the same base price as Declan Rice was. So
I've seen that.
105, 115. It's hard to say because there's obviously a bunch of like add-ons for deals like this. You know, Liverpool's not going to front 150 cash. It's just not happening. So I think it's probably somewhere. And again, it depends on the currency you're referring to. But rival fans are obviously going to have their say about this, as we would, and we have for deals like Anthony Mudryk, Enzo, all these guys, right?
Fair, yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. We haven't spent anything, so we have plenty of money. We spent 10 or 12 million on Chiesa. We'll make that back, probably double somehow. Milan, maybe. But yeah, we have the money. I'm not worried, or I don't care about the price tag. It's clear they're aggressive. They want to go back to back. They want to build for the future. And yeah, the ROBBO stuff just developing lately. There's so much to cover today. But the price tag, to answer your question, to me, it doesn't bother me. He's a generational talent. I saw his stats at 22 years old compared to Messi, Ronaldo, and he's right there on par with them. And he's the only attacking midfielder, or he has the most goal and assist contributions as an attacking midfielder in the last like 2 seasons combined. That's more than Fernandez. That's more than Bellingham. So, I mean, the guy is an absolute star. So,
The star point,
signing. It's a great signing.
I think the star thing is really what justifies the price tag, right? Because club record signing, for me, I look at the price and my eyebrows go up, but that's the extent of it. It's not, there's nothing beyond that. It's just like, that's what you're paying nowadays. And the fact of the matter is I'm just not used to Liverpool signing players of this price, right? You've said it countless times and everyone knows this. Our sweet spot is 30 to 45, that range. I mean, Kerkez is going to be that much, right? Frimpong was that much. It's just, that's the deal. But when you go after a generational talent who some of his coaches, whether it's his youth coach or his current coach or his, I can't remember, said that he's going to be a Ballon d'Or winner someday. I mean, you're looking at top talent. And I think what also speaks to this too is the clubs he turned down to come to Liverpool. He believes in the project, which surprises me. I mean, most times you're not looking at Liverpool as a club that's able to convince a player who's worth 150 or 100 million to come to the club. It's kind of shocking, really. So the price tag for me is just takes a back seat to what you're getting. You know, you just kind of have to pay it nowadays. That's what you're getting, unless you want to, go bargain hunting, which we've done in the past. So subjectively for me, I'm with you. Doesn't really bother me. We have the money. We just won the league. I mean, this is nothing. Just pay it and move on. You've been strategic for so long. You've made great signings at great prices. You can splurge a little bit, especially if it's going to play into Slot's hands with whatever system he wants to play. I've even seen a comparison. We may have talked about this, but I've seen a comparison where you look at Florian Wirtz as a false nine. Like he's going to play similar to what Firmino, because Firmino was a cam coming in. And I get excited thinking about that. Because then you can play all three of your guys. You can play McAllister, you can play Gravenberch, you can play Soboslai. And then you put Wirtz up there. That's kind of crazy.
I've had that same thought. Is this like a Firmino-esque type role that we're going to see? And Lyle says here, just to revisit the price point. So there's a risk, but kit sales alone should help cover it. I think too often we think about balancing the books in like the investment and the return on investment. There's plenty of money. So like, let's just say worst case scenario, he were to be average, maybe above average, and not the superstar that he's touted to be. You're still not going to lose a ton of money on this. What it brings to the club from this very simple example, kit sales alone, popularity, German eyes on the club, it pays for itself. So from a financial perspective, I don't think we should be worried about it at all. I don't think we should be looking at it as like a risk per se, but I think this is a really good point by Lyle. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the system that you mentioned and what sort of role he plays. And I think you'll be able to have that core three in the midfield, McAllister, Gravenberch, and Soboslai there, like you said. Wirtz, if you watch a lot of his highlights, he's attacking in from the left a lot of times too. So I think you'll see a lot of rotation in game, like folks moving around, more freedom per se, while you keep guys like McAllister and Gravenberch posted in the middle, maybe even a tad deeper, because you have these attacking threats now. So
that's what Yogesh was saying. He sees him more as a wide playmaker. But going back to the price, I like this because this is how I was looking at Robertson, which we'll get into. But RDO says even if he leaves after 5 years, referring to Florian, that's a max of 24 mil a year. Would you pay that for a major trophy every year? Damn right you would. And so if you look at it that way, if you look at what you're paying a player and the initial fee to bring him in, let's just take Robbo, for example. You pay $8 million to bring Robbo in, and there's no way Robbo's made more than 20 million over the course of his career with Liverpool. I don't. I'd be surprised if he's made more than 15. And then you think about what we're linked price-wise selling him for to Atletico Madrid at 30. You might recoup everything you've spent on Robertson and then some over 8 years. It's remarkable when you look at it that way. So I think a lot of people should look at it that way as well. And the age thing too. Say he does only stay 5 years and then he decides to go to Munich or Madrid or whatever the hell he decides to do. Hopefully he decides to stay. But say he does. What's the market going to look like at that point? Are you going to be able to sell this guy for 250? Or is he going to leave
27? Probably.
It's crazy to think about. Now, that's if Liverpool don't, fuck up and let him go on a free. But, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So let's see what else everyone's saying. Oh, yeah. So the actual deal, I'm reading 200K. And that's a great start. I think that's a great starting point for him at his age. And then if you want to extend him and give him big money if he proves himself in the Premier League, I think that's fair.
I missed that part. Who are we talking about now?
Florian Wirtz.
Oh, no, I thought you changed it. I thought you changed the player. I was reading comments about Tsimikas here and left back, which we'll get into. I think it's interesting because I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about what you can do with Wirtz at the end of his contract. And now that's all I can think about. It's like, is this an investment to double your money? It could be.
And it's wild when you look at what we paid for him, right? That's the crazy part. It's like they might be looking at this. Yeah, it's a risk. There's always a risk involved. Like Soboslai, for example, has he performed up to the price tag? You could argue no.
Production wise, no. But
right.
when you as a fan, as a supporter that watches it week in and week out, you know how invaluable he is to what we do. It's kind of like Firmino. Now, Firmino didn't come with a big price tag, but it's
Firmino
all the
produced
things that don't show up in the analytics and on the stat sheet.
But let me just kind of get into this a little bit more, because if you're looking at, if someone came in to buy Soboslai and you demanded a certain price for him, the price probably would be about the same as what we got him for. Like, I don't know if a team would come in and pay 90 million for Soboslai. And so I think that's the gamble you're taking with a player like Florian Wirtz. He's very young, but you're paying a premium for him. And there's no guarantee that he's going to come to the league and shine. I think he will. I don't think they would have paid the price that they did, or that they're going to, if they don't think it's going to pan out. But yeah, I mean, you could potentially double your investment.
It's crazy.
Which is wild. Selling players for Neymar money. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Oh, thank you to Liz for gifting the channel membership. I appreciate that, Liz. And shout out to all of our channel members in here as well. Lyle, Liz, Tony, Ardio. Let's see if I'm missing anybody here.
Hit the like button while you're at it. Thank you all for joining. Happy Father's Day again for those that are jumping in late. I would imagine it is, Kyle, but is Father's Day a global thing? Guess I've never really thought about that. It must be.
That doesn't cross my mind on a day-to-day basis. You guys got to let us know.
It's got to be.
It's got to be, right?
It's got to be, dude.
If it isn't, that just makes me feel like an idiot.
Well, happy Father's Day. If you don't get recognized across the globe, we'll recognize you here on Nothing But Reds on the Sunday Summary.
If you want to be recognized as a father, this is where you come. Okay, yeah, it's a UK Father's Day too. Okay. Ardio says, if Darwin and Robbo go to Atleti, I think we have a shot at Alvarez. Newcastle are close to getting Pedro and gave Wilson a new contract. Is Isak on the cards? Imagine Wirtz and them. So a couple things on this. So Darwin's leaving. That's confirmed. 100% leaving. And I think it's more so Saudi. But I've also seen these links, Steve, with Atleti, like a swap deal for Alvarez. Literally the other day, though, I saw that Atletico Madrid will not let go of Alvarez unless someone pays his release clause. And please correct me if I'm wrong, everyone in the chat, which is 500 million. Okay, that's his release clause. I could be wrong. Maybe it's someone else.
Yeah, it's something outrageous. It's something outrageous.
So would you? I don't think Atletico swap deals don't work. I've seen one swap. I feel like I've seen one pure swap deal in the last 10 years. That didn't include some sort of compensation as well. But I see Darwin going to Saudi because Liverpool can get the money they want and maybe extra selling him to Saudi. So that's number one. Number two, Isak is going to be way too expensive because he has 2 or 3 years left on his deal. I just don't, that's not happening. And then Robbo. Go ahead.
I saw something on Instagram yesterday. It was just a random comment. I was in a rabbit hole on, I think it was Fabrizio Romano's post about Robbo potentially being keen on the move to Atletico Madrid. And wouldn't that be absolutely hilarious? Him and Trent just go to Madrid in different clubs. Anyways.
Wild.
So the comment said, Robbo, Nunez, and 50 million, and we'll take Alvarez. And like, I don't know what the numbers or the math would shake out to be, but
what is this, the NBA?
I mean, dude, that sort of deal would be kind of cool.
No. I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong, dude. I would love to see essentially a trade plus, I guess, considerations or whatever you would call it. But that would shake up the transfer market if you could get that done, would it not?
Well, let's just say Robbo, Transfermarkt has him valued at 18. I wouldn't take a penny less than 25, and the rumors are 30. So let's just call him 30. Darwin, to me, to Saudi is 70 mil, 65 mil. but I think in Europe he's probably closer to 40. So let's just
Good, man.
call Robbo 30, let's call Darwin 40, and then 50 cash makes it 120 value total. That's what it would get a deal done for Alvarez, 120. If you came with 120 million cash to Atletico Madrid, they would let Alvarez go right now. There's no doubt in my mind. They might want more add-ons or something, but there are very few players in the world, if he were to be keen on a move to Liverpool, that 120 million is not enough for. Very few. Like maybe five. Maybe 5 players on the entire planet.
So this is what I was looking at.
And they all play for Real Madrid.
Well, the reason that I don't know if 120 gets the job done is because of what they paid Man City for him. They paid him I knew it was like 90 plus. They paid 95 million euros. This doesn't sound right. 104 million US dollars. I thought euros was more than US dollars. But anyways, this is again AI overview. The fee is broken down into an essential 75 million euro package with an additional 20 million in performance-based add-ons. That's a lot. So you get a player, you get 2 players in return, right? You get Robbo, who's on the wrong side of 30, but you get Darwin Nunez, who in the right environment, in the right system, maybe becomes a crucial. I feel like he could excel at Atletico Madrid. If you asked me a player who fits a transfer more than Darwin to Atletico Madrid, I probably couldn't name one. I feel like that's a match made in heaven. But you get more money if he goes to Saudi. So to your point, 120 million, if you come into Atletico and say, hey, here's 120, give us Alvarez, I don't think they're jumping at that.
Unless he's keen on the move. That's why I prefaced it with that asterisk. Because if he wants to move to Liverpool, it's a lot easier for them to accept it. But if he's like, no, I'll stay, well, then they'll just demand more. But you're right. Darwin's a perfect fit for Atletico because you can I can picture them. Like 100%. A cold Tuesday night in Germany playing in the Champions League. They parked the bus, right? Nothing's going for him at all. And Darwin's just sitting at the halfway line. And then all of a sudden a quick turnover and a through ball, and Darwin's burning all the center backs. Yep. And he's in on goal. And if he can just finish 10% better, it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. They have that attitude. Simeone's got that like grit, right? And like it fits.
Dude, Simeone would melt with Darwin Nunez in his lineup. Like, I feel like they would just feed off of each other. And there's only 2 ways it would go. Either Darwin Nunez's attitude issue or temper gets way worse, or they just dial in and Darwin Nunez becomes an absolute dog under him.
I feel like both. I think he would light it up and also get like 4 red cards. Him and Simeone just getting ejected in the same match.
Dude, could you? I could totally see it. Absolutely see it. So here we go. Let's go over to the chat a little bit here.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Go ahead. So,
it just said Alvarez is 120 to 125. Like, I agree. I don't think if you want a player badly, that's what it takes. I think that's what Isak is too. You got to think like how many deals with that value or that bid have been turned down? Who even bids that? That's crazy money.
It is.
You look at some of the really, really high transfers over the years, like the Pogbas, Sancho, Mudryk. I'm just thinking about like things that are close to home that I can think of off the top of my head. Casado, Enzo. I don't know if any of them were 120. 120.
When you bring up these names, all right. So back to the very first thing we talked about right when we went live. I said, "What do you think subjectively?" I want to bring it back to objectively, okay? Because there's 2 sides to this, dude. When you're buying Enzo, Antony, Grealish, all these guys for 100 million, we were roasting those buys. Okay? Grealish obviously panned out, right? So, but then you have Enzo, you have Antony. Really, all of the reactions were justified. Why do you think the world is reacting the way they are to the price for Wirtz. Do you think at the time of the transfer, those players we had previously mentioned had a higher level of hype or a higher potential than Wirtz? Because I don't.
No, 0%. Full stop. Not at all. There's only been a handful of players that have this kind of hype over the years. You think about, like, in that bucket, to me, I think Mbappe's in a league of his own.
Oh, sure.
But I would say Haaland. I would say Bellingham. I would say there's not many, dude. Right now, you got Musiala, you got Yamal. There's not many.
Yeah, Musiala is a good example.
There really is not many that have this sort of hype. From a standpoint of like a non-boring player.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's been keepers floated around 100, center backs, but we're talking like strictly star boys that are going to make something out of nothing, creative attackers, strikers. There haven't been many. So no, Mudryk, dude, where'd he come from?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Russia? Like where'd he come from?
Ukraine, right? Was he at
Shakhtar?
Well, I thought that's what I thought he was at, dude. I don't know what's going on. Is he still even on Chelsea?
Yeah.
Oh, he is. Okay.
I think so.
He's got to be. Yeah, Liz says $100 million headband, aka Grealish. He's got to be in the top 5 worst signings of all time. It's crazy to think you have 2 of the worst signings of all time in the last 10 years with Grealish and Antony. I mean, horrific signings.
There's so many bad ones, dude.
There's
Pepe, Sancho. So many.
Oh, Pepe's bad. But at the time, dude, that's a really bad. Arsenal haven't missed, really. I mean, there were actually no, there are a lot of misses in there. That Lucas Torreira didn't pan out. Pepe.
We looked at this like a couple months ago. There's been some misses, but not huge money misses.
Modric was at Zagreb, then we're talking about 2 different people, I think, in here. See what else we got in here. Bad one here says he's not. This is the one I had. He's not coming, bro. He achieved everything in the Premier League, World Cup, Copa America. Now he's heading to get La Liga, it seems. Are we talking about Alvarez? I think it's the only one that makes sense because Alvarez was at City. I don't know. I haven't seen enough heavy links with any strikers, to be honest with you. I've seen reaches of how could this deal for Alvarez work. I don't see
Akita
K. Yeah, I've seen that too.
I think that could work. He finished like top 5 or 10 in the league in goals. He's young.
What's he at? Freiburg or Frankfurt? Frankfurt. Freiburg or Frankfurt.
He's a good player, dude. I could see that coming through.
Let me look
half
him
the
up.
price of these other guys. He'd be 50, 60, maybe 70.
22 years old. 33 matches in the Bundesliga, 15 goals, 8 assists. Great production. It's great production. By the way, for the record, Florian Wirtz in the Bundesliga is like a 10-10 guy basically over the last 2 years. And then in the Champions League or Europe, I think they were in the Champions League though. 9 games, 6 goals, 1 assist. Great production.
You know who Wirtz is? Wirtz is Coutinho, but 5 years younger. That's who he is. Coutinho took a little bit to get into his prime. I think when we sold him, what was he, 26?
Yeah.
Ish?
25, 26.
Yeah. Wirtz is at that level, but he was there at 20 and a half years old, 21 years old.
I think players are becoming better players younger now. And think about it, dude. For a while, we didn't spend a lot of money on players who were 21, 22, right? Until I think the first time we broke that threshold of not buying a player in their prime was like Keita, who was 23 when we got him. Then you saw Konate, right? We got him at 21. Now you're seeing us spend this much on, and then Szoboszlai, of course. I mean, this is where you have to buy these players because otherwise, if you're going after a player in their prime, you might spend 200. There's no market for that. What's to say? Diego Simeone said a few days ago that he will not be surprised if Alvarez goes to Liverpool.
This is legit though. I don't know if he actually said it word for word, but he confirmed Liverpool's interest at the very least. And that's huge. If you think about it, we haven't spent anything. If Robbo goes there, if we want to throw Nunez in and we can get this done for some sort of swap deal, which probably won't happen. You splash all this cash this summer, you can just like kind of chill. Like there may be some gaps in the lineup next year you got to fill with folks that are typically in our little window, the 30 to 45 window.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get all these players now, it's like Slot can just lock in and focus. We got young talent across the board. We got staples in the lineup. Allison will be here. Give Mamadashvili some time to take over. You still got Virgil. You still got Salah extended. The midfield's young and maybe top 2-3 in the world. You just brought in left back, right back. I mean, dude, this is a rebuild.
Thank you for saying it.
This is a rebuild from a champion.
Thank you for saying it. Thank you.
It's crazy.
Because last time we won the league, we brought in Thiago. We brought in Tsimikas.
No, Thiago came in mid-year.
Okay.
He won the league with us.
Okay. We brought in Tsimikas. Vandenberg, I think, was that year. And then was there one other one? My
After
point
we
is
won the league, dude.
So
Jota, maybe?
No,
Jota was here. Jota was here.
Jota was mid-year, I think.
I don't know if we made a ton of moves after
That's
that.
the thing. That's my point. We did not make a ton of moves. And the moves we made were just kind of like filling the gaps, as you said. They're not like back then, I don't think we would have gotten a Florian Wirtz. We wouldn't have gotten a Frimpong, right? Well, actually, maybe because Tsimikas, I guess, was there. But we just approached everything differently. Of course, we had different, footballing directors and all that stuff. But we are doing basically a rebuild. And it's awesome to see because the two things that fans have been crying about, right, that a lot of fans have been very discontent with are our spending habits when there's players available in the market that are interested in us, and then capitalizing on a successful season by trying to get better instead of being like, oh, we're good enough. We're doing that now. I don't know if it's Slot. I don't know if it's Edwards. I don't know if it's Hughes. I don't know if it's just, I don't know. Maybe FSG has had a change of heart, but I love this. This team is incredible, Steve. You're adding Florian Wirtz to a midfield of Soboslai, McAllister, Gravenberch, Jones. Oh!
Dude, Tony here says a rebuild on good foundations. I would take it a step further and say this is a what do you call it when you add something to your house? This is an addition on a mansion.
There we go.
We literally we're a Rolls Royce and we're souping it up.
We're putting the mother-in-law suite out back.
Yeah. See you later.
With a breezeway.
And a bridge and a pond.
And koi fish.
And we're just going to sit in there like this. We're just going to row.
Just going to
row right to the title.
Yep.
If we get Alvarez, Kyle, it's over. I really think it's over.
I got to go a little further on this. I got to go a little further on this. And we're hitting our oars on the rocks on the side of the pond. Just doing circles, chipping away. All right. That's it.
Chipping away at the Champions League. We need another one of those. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. But if we get Alvarez, Kyle, if we get Alvarez, we have the best lineup in world football, aside from Real Madrid, I'd probably say.
Yeah. You just can't be content because there are teams that are always improving. And in the Champions League, we've had this debate on the show before between the Premier League and Champions League, like what's harder? I'm always going to think the Champions League because you're going up against the best in Europe versus the best in England, regardless. But in our year, a Premier League title winning year, we couldn't get past PSG, who ultimately won, which is, kind of like oh, okay, well, we didn't do too bad then, right? We barely lost to PSG. But to make that next step, you can't be signing Samikas, right? You got to sign Florian Wirtz. You got to sign Frimpong. You got to start making moves like we're doing in this transfer window. And it's exciting. Someone said it here. It's rare, but I'm loving it. Ron Davidson.
Ron Davidson.
Yep.
What's up, Ron? Welcome. Yeah, I mean, even when you think about the big splashes we made in the market 6-7 years ago with Van Dijk and Allison, it was off the Coutinho money. So it wasn't even like this. We haven't sold anybody that's really worth anything. It's just like we've been sitting and piling cash. And I think a big part of this might have to do maybe with slot. I don't know. What's different?
Slot. I'm glad you said it because I didn't want to say like slot is the reason, but let's look at the small evidence we have, dude. Slot comes in, wins the league with a team he doesn't make any changes to, and then says, you know what? Let's go sign $100+ million player. Let's break the club transfer record and get this guy. Oh, by the way, Trent, see ya. Frimpong, come on. I want to talk about Konate too. I'm worried about Konate, but shout out to Liz for the super chat. She wants all the shiny trophies, and you know what, Liz? If we keep doing business like we're doing, we have a legit chance. We have a legit chance. All right.
I think these moves put us in, and I've already felt this way, but like this keeps us in the conversation for getting at least one piece of silverware per year.
It should.
Whether it's FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. I love the Carabao. I know a lot of folks don't, but I do. We'll get one of those 4 every year. I feel confident that we'll at least fight on all fronts. Even if it's a down year, even with injuries, we can fight for the cups. No doubt.
Yes. We're not just getting by the skin of our teeth and being competitive. We're making moves. Ron asks a question here, says, do you reckon it's Edwards trying to make a point? I don't know if this is cynical. I don't think that's the right word, but that side of me wants to think that Edwards is just sitting in his office reading the hate comments on social media and just saying, like, fuck you guys, watch this. And it's just getting the deals done. Just slinging deals, as some say. I feel like that's not what's happening. I feel like there is a player that Liverpool have wanted. They won the league. They have the cash available. Let's just spend. Let's get them. I think the timing of it was perfect because if you don't win the league, who's to say that we don't go and get Florian Wirtz? The money might not be there. You get 185 million from winning the league. I mean, that's a lot of cash.
Totally. Fireburn says we are now making the world look at us, and that's what I've felt recently. It's really tough to conceptualize how people view us from the outside because we're in it. We're just like red all day. It's all we do, right? And so when I think about what the media focuses on, I could be wrong, again, because we're biased. We're in this little red bubble a lot of times. You have a lot of focus on Salah and the season he had, but there was also a lot of like negativity and uncertainty around the Trent, the Van Dijk, and the Salah extension. So it's like our success flew under the radar, in my opinion, to some extent. And when I look at the media, it's all about, for a while there was all Mbappe. It was all Haaland. Then for a short time, I felt like everyone was talking about Musiala. Now it's Yamal. Everything is Yamal.
Yeah. What's the hype? And it's like,
it is the hype. And it's like, okay, maybe Edwards was like, all right, Trent, like you kind of did us dirty. I'm going to make a splash here, and we're going to get eyes on Liverpool. We're going to, as Fireburn says here, we're going to make the world look at us. We just won a trophy. We just won the league. And now we're bringing in Wirtz, Frimpong. We're not wasting any time. We're here to stay. And I love it. But that's just how it feels to me. Again,
No,
we're in this little bubble. I don't know.
No. You're right. It's hard to it's hard to look at it objectively when you're up close, but you could make the argument that this is also a PR move. This is also like a move that says, hey, look at Liverpool, right? Maybe all this negativity surrounding the Trent move and how Trent doing his press conference in Spanish really just drove the knife in deeper. I mean, I know a lot of fans, including myself, I felt a little salty about that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Look, I get it. Some people didn't feel it that way. I did. Okay. I just look at it as like, damn, this dude has been preparing for this. And everyone knows this. Trent is a very nonchalant, like just mellow dude. Right. And then you see that and you realize how much effort it takes. And, you know, he's excited about the move, as he should be. I mean, it's an exciting move, but it's just like, damn, bro, that sucks. So
I have two things to say about that. One is when you grow up playing European football, you learn to communicate in other languages. Number two, he may have taken a bunch of Spanish in school. Number three, he's reading from a teleprompter. That's what people don't realize. Watch the interview back. He's staring at one place 95% of the time. So
I didn't even think about the teleprompter.
May have learned some Spanish. While he may have spent some time on that, I don't think his performances were affected by him learning another language, if in fact that was the case. But yeah, watch the interview back. He's literally staring at one spot, which is right near the camera, and there's probably a teleprompter back there. Because,
go ahead.
I mean, dude, they can speak other languages. They can communicate in other languages. Think about all the Spanish-speaking players he's played with.
Look, I get it. I think I'm just a little salty about it. There's two things I want to say that I've glanced over. So Frank saying, for this community, Liz is the shiny trophy. Couldn't have said it better myself. Liz, I mean, all of our channel members have been in here since day one, but Liz, really appreciate what Liz does for the channel and supporting the show. And then there was one other comment. Ross said, I love that he did it in Spanish personally. So the salty side of me was kind of like, yeah, oh crap. Hold on. I got to plug my charger in. This computer won't run unless the charger's plugged in. Hold on.
All right, let's start a fund to get Kyle a new computer. Why don't we do that?
All right, saved it.
There he is. He's back. Go ahead. So
Ross saying, I love that he did it in Spanish. So do I, and I think that's why it pisses me off. Like if I'm a fan of Madrid and I see this guy coming in doing the whole thing in Spanish, I bought into this guy, right? He's doing what he should do. He's trying to win over the fans right away, get on their good side. I love that. Okay, but that's the last thing I want to say about Trent.
Yeah, we can't spend any more time talking about this.
No, we're done. We're done with Trent.
But just to close the loop on this
Yeah.
rebuild situation, Lyle says, this reminds me of when FSG bought the Red Sox and set their sights on beating the Yankees. I think right now they've set their sights on Madrid. Yeah, and if it's not Madrid specifically, it's just on just driving traffic and awareness to what we're doing at this club in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I'm laughing at the corporate close the loop. I love that.
Close the loop.
Let's put this in the parking lot, as some say. God.
Happy Father's Day again to everybody in here. Hit the like button, please. Appreciate you guys spending your Sunday morning on us. Just put that in the parking lot.
Yeah, let's put that in the parking lot and let's move on to Andy ROBBO. Look, ROBBO is linked with Atletico Madrid. Weird. Not expecting it, but I'm not mad about it. Especially if Kerkez, according to Romano, it's just a matter of time. Kerkez is set on Liverpool, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for this deal to develop, and that gives you Kerkez and Tsimikas. Robbo to Madrid is not only a link, Madrid want him. Atletico, excuse me, want him. And sentimental, emotional things aside, I actually want this, dude. I want it. I think it's time. I do. If you're going to
There's
do
two ways to look at it. It's either time or you need to keep him here to ease the transition. But I also think it's somewhat of a disservice to Robbo to have him not play all the time.
I agree.
But I will say this, Kyle. Kerkez had a great year. We all know that. Frimpong's had a couple good years. Can you say with any level of certainty that if you were starting a Champions League final tomorrow, you'd start Kerkez over Robbo?
You know what? That's a good way to look at it.
Absolutely not.
No, you're right.
Absolutely not. And so this might feel, I think for most of us, a little bit early for the Robbo exit. But when you take into account everything else, his age, the contract, the fact that he's still got some value, it does make sense. And I hate to say it, but he's still, as far as I'm concerned, the best left back at the club, Kerkez included. I strongly believe that.
So there's two ways you look at this, right? And I want you, I want everyone to imagine for a second, you're playing FIFA, okay? And you buy a new young player for a position and you have an older one there. Yeah, you trust the older one. They're great, right? But you need to make some money. You're trying to cash in on them. And then also the manager yourself, right? You want to play with this younger guy. They're either faster or you like the style. They just offer something different. You're going to sell that player because you have to do right by the player, right? Maybe Robbo is the best left back, right? But maybe what Slot is looking at is how am I going to use my fullbacks, right? Robbo and Trent, very, very specific types of players, very different types of players, right? But you look at Kerkez and Frimpong, very different wingbacks. I mean, virtually what they are wingbacks. And I feel like you have to sell Robbo because you can't have three left backs, right? Because Tsimikas would never play, right? And Robbo, and you can't bring in Kerkez, who it doesn't work. You have to sell someone. And I feel like Tsimikas, having already taken a backseat to Robbo for the last 3 or 4 years, is already content with that backup role. Robbo and Kerkez are not. One of them have to go. And if you're bringing in Kerkez, Robbo's the answer. It's the only way to look at it.
I thought Tsimikas would go, but it makes sense. It makes sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if this happened quickly. But given the fact that it's confirmed from Simeone that Liverpool are interested in Alvarez, maybe this is the time for a swap deal. Look, we're hungry in the market. So, like, what do you want? Okay, we'll give you Robbo, then give us Alvarez for 80.
Okay, so this is the second time in the chat I've seen Robertson changed his agent to Trent's brother last year. I looked this up, and I didn't see that. I did not see that. Liam O'Donnell. Is that Trent's brother? Like that's who I'm seeing. Like, let me see. Maybe AI is screwing me over here. It's PLG, Liam O'Donnell, a Scottish lawyer. Now, they do have the same clients with Trent. I mean, Trent's a client. Bowen's a client. This was from 2023. So, yeah, maybe he did, guys. I'm sorry I doubted you. But I just saw that, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Okay, so Liam O'Donnell is a Scottish PFA lawyer and agent with connections to the agency that represents Liverpool's Andy Robertson.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what I saw, and I'm like, I don't think it's Trent. That sounds like something that people stretch to make up, but I don't know the answer, so I don't want to, criticize anyone. But
Not that it would matter anyways.
it doesn't matter. Even if he goes, he goes. I think Robbo's gone, and you have to cash in. Personally, I think you do. I think it's smart. You don't let him leave on a free. That's the only thing I'd change with Liverpool's transfer strategy is these players that are out of contract, you sell them. It's the only thing I'd change. I feel like we don't sell players enough.
No, we don't sell players at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Who have we sold? Like, until, I mean, take the outliers out of the equation. The Coutinho, the Saudi splurge with Fabinho and Henderson.
How random was that, by the way? Was that not random?
It was, and like
I thought that was so random that Fabinho and Hendo leave. I know we needed a rebuild in the midfield, but I just thought it was so random.
If I was Liverpool, I'd be taking advantage of this Saudi rush because eventually it'll stop.
No, the Saudi
endless money.
2 years.
Eventually,
2 years.
It will stop because people will realize your career goes there to die. And
It's
I don't
China.
think it'll ever become like a top league in the world.
No, it's China. It's China. It's what China was 10 years ago. China, that hype.
More pull.
No, yeah, they lasted 3 years, right? Saudi has gone on for what? We're going on year 3 or 4 now, right? 3 or 4 now of
Sure.
how long has Ronaldo played there? Because I feel like he was the.
I think 2.5 years he's been there, maybe 3.5.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, that's just. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. I'd be surprised if it lasts. Let's put it that way. Let's go over to some comments on the Robbo thing. I'm gutted if Robbo leaves. I thought he'll stay. That would have been a great left side, but I guess he doesn't want to fight for his place. You'll never walk alone. Let's not chalk it up to just that, right? I think it's more of a business deal and doing right by the player than it is Robbo not wanting to fight for his place. He's got a year left on his deal. The club's bringing in a new left back, and that would mean there's 3 left backs. I think the way I looked at it, not to toot my own horn, is the only thing that makes sense. Robbo's not going to take a backseat. He's not going to be a number 2 or share a starting spot with a player. Okay, last year, Robbo was the clear-cut number 1. I mean, everyone knows that. With Tsimikas behind him, Robbo's number 1. With Kerkez, that's not guaranteed. And so, Robbo being 31, right? 31? Dude, yeah. The dude can still play. And so, look, it's a win-win. We'll sell you to a club that's going to play you as a number 1, and we're going to cash in.
I don't think it's about him not wanting to fight for his place. I think
not at all.
If anything, the club probably told him, like, we're going to go in a different direction. Where do you want to go? Do you want to move? Whatever. And then this interest pops up, and he's like, sure. But also, you got to think about the fact that he's already fought for his place. He didn't come in here as a guaranteed starter. Who was he battling with back in the day? Moreno? Then, I mean, even maybe a year before, Milner was the best left back in Europe.
Best left back the Premier League has ever seen. James freaking Milner.
Well, the Champions League, the best. He has like the Champions League assist record.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
James freaking Milner. Liz, shout out to you.
Yes.
Then they bring in Tsimikas. He continuously earns that spot over Tsimikas. Then Robbo gets hurt. Joe Gomez comes in, has one of the best left back seasons we've seen. That was like a year or 2 ago. Joe Gomez was unbelievable at left back.
He was pretty good.
Starting this year. Robbo has continuously fought for that position, even though on the world football, in the view of world football, on the world stage, he is the best left back we have. There has never been a guarantee that when his form is down, he's going to start. We've seen rotation. And he just continuously shows up. He's a servant to the club. He plays harder than anybody. He'd die for the club. If we're going in a different direction, even because I don't think it would be this year. I still think, in my opinion, even though we spent on Kerkez, I think Robertson would play more than Kerkez this year. I don't think we'll ever know if that opinion or guess is correct, because I think he's going. But that's what I think. This is a move for Robertson's future rather than we don't need him anymore. It's a business decision. You're right.
That's
It's a
exactly what it
business
is.
decision, and it's for the player. He deserves to play every match. He deserves to start in Champions League matches, undoubtedly.
Right,
Who
because
they
look at it
have
the
him
other
there?
way. Look at it the other way. Let's say, oh, we're keeping Robbo. He's got a year left on his deal. You sell Samikas. What can you get for Samikas? 15? At 20 at most? And then you're stuck with Robbo and Kerkez, who both want to be number ones, who one is an expiring deal. And then you have to make the decision, do we have to extend Robbo at the end of this? And then it makes way more sense. Robbo's the one to go. And I'll leave it at that. Nito Nova says there's no way that could have been Kerkez starts over Robbo any day. I can't speak to this yet because I've literally not seen Kerkez play outside of highlights and against Liverpool. I just don't know if you can just bring a new player in and say, all right, you're immediately starting over Robbo. No, I don't think so.
Let us know in the chat. This is a good little poll for us to wrap up here. Who would play more minutes this year if Robbo stays? Kerkez or Robbo? And I mean in the important matches. The league, the Champions League. I think in the cups it's always up for debate and rotation. But I would say it would be Robbo for this first year. That's what I thought would happen. I thought we'd have a transition year where Robbo plays most of the time. Robbo gets 30 starts in the league, 25 starts in the league. Maybe Kerkez plays a little bit more in the Champions League against, in some of the earlier stages. And then you see him take over after this year, almost like what I'm envisioning with Mamadashvili and Allison. That's what I think would happen. Because it's not like Kerkez came in for 100 million. But at the end of the day, Liverpool buy players and start them for the most part, with the exception of like Gravenberch, maybe, who didn't really start a ton.
And once he did start, I mean, under Klopp, but once he did start, you're like, damn, this guy's got to play. We're getting mixed reviews in the chat. A lot of people say definitely Robbo. Others are saying definitely Kerkez. But interesting that there's such a divide there.
I think it's a good debate. I think arguments can be made for both sides. I haven't seen enough of Kerkez. I think you had just mentioned that. Who knows?
It's hard to say. Shout out to Scottish Bear. You'll never walk alone. So let's wrap it up here with the Konate issue, right? So Konate's demanding big money. I think we've offered him 200K. Is Konate right to demand big money for his next contract, Steve?
Yes.
I think I agree.
What is he, 24?
25, I believe.
Okay, this is his biggest contract.
24, 25, yeah.
He could go to PSG and make 300.
Dude, it's who else are you going to get, guys?
Pay him.
Just pay him.
If you pay him and you have him and Virgil for the next 2 years, and then you bring somebody else in to take over for Virgil, whatever. Like, if you lock Konate down for another 5 or 6 years, that's one position you just do not have to worry about. Think about how crazy that is. Like, how often can you say, oh, we don't have to worry about that position? Even like guys like Salah were like, jeez, I mean, he's getting older. He's going to slow down eventually. His contract, blah, blah, blah. If you give, I mean, Allison.
Yeah.
We brought in a replacement, but like, I don't know, man. McAllister's linked to certain places. How many positions can you say, like, wow, we don't have to worry about that? When you lock down a center back for 5 years, you're good. You lock down someone like Konate, that is one spot in the starting 11 you simply do not have to think about for 3.5 years if you sign him to a standard 5-year deal.
You got to pay him. And if you offer him good money and he says no, there's nothing you could do. But you got to pay him.
Then you sell him for 80.
Well, so this brings up a whole new topic, which we don't have to get into. But if behind the scenes he has already said no to whatever we're offering him, you got to start making moves. Because you cannot let Konate leave on a free. I'm sorry, you can't. And I'm not as in tune with the center back market, as I've been in years past, who is up to par with Konate that you could bring in? I don't know. It's a tough conversation.
It's probably 10 people across Europe. I guess you could make the argument for. A couple guys in Italy are really, really good.
I see us linked with Gotti from, which is a badass name, by the way, from Juventus. But outside of that, literally, and Hoyjin, whatever the hell his name is, that just went to. Those are the only two guys that we were linked with. What are you going to do? But ultimately, guys, Florian Wirtz signing of the year. Regardless of what he produces his first year, this is a long-term buy for me, and we talked about it at the start of the show. You could potentially double your investment if this guy pans out, given his age. You have ROBBO likely on his way out, with Kerkez definitely set on Liverpool. Just the details have to be ironed out with the deal itself. And we're looking at what seems to be a rebuild on the surface. As Tony put it, a rebuild on a solid foundation, which I really couldn't have said it better. And we are going to be here every step of the way, leading you guys through the summer, leading into next season. And Steve, with all of that said, I have no closing thoughts, man.
I'm with you. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. Again, happy Father's Day for the 15th time to all of the dads across the globe. And smash that like button if you don't mind. And we will see you next time. Until next time, Reds. Take care.
Hey, I love that.